Hello and welcome to Brew Builds. Today I'll show you how to set up and use a Herzo dust shroud with a grinding wheel to tackle concrete. If you've ever cut or ground concrete, you know how much dust it throws up into the air. It's messy, dangerous to breathe, and it settles on everything. That's why having a good dust collection system is a must. This was cheap, but is it good? Let's find out. I purchased this dust shroud from Amazon. It was about 25% the price of a name brand unit from a big box store, so I thought I'd give it a try. It states it will fit almost any handheld grinder, but I don't have my hopes up that high because I read some of the reviews and they said that it doesn't fit a DeWalt, which is what I have. Alright, let's open this up and see what I'm working with. We have the installation directions. This must be for attaching the vacuum hose. Some different size adapters and a spacer. The dust shroud, a tightening tool. I also purchased a diamond cup grinding wheel for concrete. The other thing you will need is a good shop vacuum. Installing the shroud should be pretty simple. First, remove the cutoff or grinding wheel from your angle grinder and any washers or spacers. Then you will need to remove the safety guard. There should be some type of screw or lever that holds it on. Mine has 2 Phillips screws. The Herzo shroud states it will fit most 4 to 5 inch grinders by supplying different size adapters that go around the guard mount of the grinder. This one fits, but I think I see a problem. The shroud needs to fit flush, and it looks like it will hit these 2 tabs. There is a notch here, it's just not wide enough. I think I can cut this notch bigger using my Dremel tool, that way the shroud will fit flush against the grinder. But before I cut this and can't return it, I want to make sure that it will work. Looks like it should fit just fine with a little modification. Now it should fit better. That looks good. If you were lucky and you didn't need to modify anything, tighten the shroud around the adapter and lock it into place. Next, mount the diamond cut grinding wheel onto the grinder like normal. You may need to add some spacers so it doesn't rub against the shroud. Hook up your shop vacuum to the dust port of the shroud using the hose adapter. I have an old Craftsman vacuum with a 2-inch hose. I ended up taking the hose off my drywall sander and used that to go from the shroud to the vacuum hose. Fortunately, it fits the adapter. This should work better anyway, since this hose is a lot more flexible. Not sure what I would have done if I didn't have this hose from my drywall sander. I'm sure there are hoses and adapters available to make this work for your vacuum. I recommend using a vacuum that has good suction and a filter for fine dust. Concrete dust is no joke. And as a reminder, always wear eye protection, hearing protection, and some type of respirator. Even though you're using a dust collector, some dust will escape and this will keep it out of your lungs. Alright, let's go see how this works. I have this section of concrete here that needs smoothing. As I grind, there's very little dust. you can see how well the Shroud keeps the dust down. Instead of creating a giant cloud, most of the dust is getting sucked right into the vacuum, which means less cleanup and safer air for everyone. This does have an edge that will lift up and lock out of the way, so you can get the grinding wheel closer to an object, like a wall or a bolt. However, you will create more dust in the air with the edge up. This is a small grinding wheel, and I wouldn't want to tackle a large project with this, but it is doing the job. I rented a concrete planer to remove about 1/4 inch of concrete from this slab, which is why it's so rough. I'll show you what this slab is for in future videos. Just to show you how much dust is going into the vacuum, I'll run it for a few seconds with the vacuum unplugged. Here is a side-by-side comparison. This will clog your vacuum filter pretty quickly, so you need to clean it often. I like to put mine inside a plastic trash bag and then knock it against the side of the trash can. That way all the dust stays inside the bag. Other than having to modify this a little bit to get it to work with my DeWalt grinder, this dust collection setup works well, and for the price, I think it's worth it. If you have any type of concrete grinding work, whether it's prepping floors, smoothing out rough edges, or removing old coatings, this used properly will keep dust from going everywhere, and most importantly, out of your lungs. Hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you have a dust collector that works well with your hand grinder. Thanks for watching, I hope this has been helpful, and be sure to check out some of the other videos I have on brew builds.